Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So I got a little something different today. It's not the usual 2-valve, as you guys know that it's broke down right now. Can't talk about some stuff that's going on with it, but I will update you guys with everything in due time. So the 2-valve is not gone. It is coming back, just working on some stuff right now. But in the meantime, got a little something different here on the channel today. So my buddy Jesse just put Holly on his car, and he brought it to me to have me kind of tweak some of the tune on it and figure some stuff out, because he doesn't have a lot of time to work on this thing. So there it is. It's a 03-04 Cobra. I don't know exactly what year, and as you can see just from the initial look at the car, it does have a bumper exit exhaust. It does not have the Eaton on it anymore. It is a single turbo setup, and obviously it's set up, it's a drag car. Obviously it's got bigs and littles on it and all that good stuff. So I'll tell you guys a little bit about it, and then we'll start it up. And then Friday night we're going to take this thing to the track and see how fast we can get it to go. So we'll start off with under the hood. And as you can see, it's a 4-valve. It's a Cobra. It still has the 4-valve in it. And I'll go over some of the specs as best as I can. I don't know all the specifics on this engine, but I do know a basic rundown of what's done to it. So starting up right here in the front, it is a single turbo. This is a VS Racing Billet 80. It's got the nice red compressor wheel in here. Looks nice. It is the T4 80mm. It's got the big 9688 turbine wheel in it, but it's got a T4 125 AR, so it doesn't look quite as big as the turbo that you guys have seen on the 2-valve. 4-inch downpipe with this nice looking fender exit right here. Really like the way that looks. So specs on the engine, starting at the top, it's got the Edelbrock elbow on it. It has the Sullivan short runner intake. The heads are, I want to say they're Navigator heads, but I may be wrong. I want to say they're Navigator heads with a little bit of work done to them. The bottom end, it's still a 4.6. It's a Texas block stock stroke. This thing is actually bored 30 over, so it's riding the ragged edge of what the cylinders can handle on this Texas block. Usually you don't want to go more than 20 over on the Texas if you're trying to make over 1,000 horsepower, and this car does make over 1,000 horsepower turned up. So he's running on the ragged edge. It's been holding up so far, and hopefully it continues to hold up. It's got a nice four fuel system. You can see the four fuel regulator back here. And then the hot side on the turbo kit, it has CG Fab forward facing headers, and then it's got a custom built hot side with a, if you look down in there, it's got a single 60 or 66 millimeter precision wastegate sitting down there on it. So that's really it for specifics on the engine. I don't know a whole lot more. It does have some aftermarket cams in it. I don't know the specs on those cams or any of that. So this thing makes some good power though. So behind the engine, it has a TH400 built by Cameron, the same person that builds my transmission. Basically the same specs. It's got a PTC 9.5-inch converter. It is like a 15 blade stator, I think. This thing's a little tight. We may end up having to loosen the converter up on this thing. But it's a beautiful car. It needs a little wash. It's been in and out of the shop and garages and everything else lately. You can see we got Jesse's name up here. In the car, it's got a 6-point roll cage. It's got the nice Kirky seats in it, just like my car does. It has this looks like a B&M. I want to say it's like a B&M quarter horse or something like that shifter, but TH400 reverse valve body. This thing's a little weird for me to drive because you guys know my shifter is reversed, so I can still shift my reverse pattern TH400 forward to go through the gears. This car would be reverse, neutral, first, second, third, so you're pulling the gears back as you shift gears. A little weird to me. It's taken a little bit of getting used to whenever I drove this thing down the road yesterday. Pretty much stock interior. Like I said, this thing has been ripped apart and put back together a lot lately. It's a little rough around the edges. We got a lot of cleaning up to do, but it's going to clean up really nicely. And obviously it has Holley EFI. This thing has been kicking my butt a little bit today, but I finally got the idle and the part throttle drivability working pretty good on this thing. Nothing else to really see in here. It does have rear seat delete. Other than that, it's very similar to my car. These are very similar builds, except for the fact that this is a 4-valve, mine's a 2-valve. I don't know a lot of specifics on the suspension. I do know it has double adjustable shocks in the front and in the back. It has some relocated upper control arms in the back. His car does sit a little bit lower than mine, but it is still running a 275 radial, 275/60 radial right here. And let's do a quick little walk around right here. Beautiful car. The 4-valve is just huge. I'm having to get used to it. It takes up a lot of room. I will say this car is a lot harder to work on than my car is, just because of how big this engine, physically big this engine is. They do make really good power though, especially even with stock heads, they outflow the 2-valve, the trick flow heads. They flow almost as good as a trick flow head. So I mean, you can't beat the performance of the 4-valve. You just got to deal with twice the parts, and they're really expensive. So we'll go ahead and do a quick idle clip of this thing, and then the next thing you guys will see is we'll be at the track on Friday trying to make some passes in this thing. Alright, so we're out here. Got Jesse's car out here.
He's already a race car, might as well be a race car.
Jesse's getting ready.
Alright, I'll go borrow one like a dum-dum. I thought it must have rolled around or took words.
We have a cleaner we can clean.
We can clean a fresh mark on it.
I got one on my trailer.
Yeah.
Trailer ain't here.
I know.
They ain't no tip.
Should tell me.
Window marker?
Go over there.
So we're going to get this thing up to the lanes and see what it does. Hey, what's up guys? So it's the day after the racetrack with Jesse's car. We ran into a lot of issues last night with this car, mainly the main issue being that the converter is too tight, and we already knew that before we took it to the track. We thought maybe we could tune through it, but the converter is just way too tight for his setup. Normally whenever you leave off the trans brake, you want to see the converter flash up to the power band that the engine is going to make the most power at. So like with my car, when it leaves off the trans brake, it'll usually flash up to like 6,000 RPM where it's making the meat of the power. On Jesse's car, and it would be easier to show you on data log, but I don't have it with me. On his car, we leave at 4,000 RPM and the converter flashes to about 4,100 RPM. So that means that we're not able to leave on enough boost to get up on the converter whenever we leave the starting line. Therefore, it's killing the 60 foot and it's just killing ET. The mile per hour is decent on the car, but I also think the converter is killing the mile per hour too, because it's not letting the engine stay in the area that it makes the most power at, which would be the higher RPMs. So we're going to take the converter out of my car. It's a PTC 9.5 inch with a 18 blade stator. It's the 18.2. And the converter in Jesse's car is a PTC 9.5 inch as well, but it's a 15 blade stator. It's a 15-4, which is more something you would see on like a big cube LS that's making a lot of horsepower. So we think that my converter is going to work a lot better in Jesse's car, and then if it does work, there's a wasp attacking me. If it does work, we'll just send his converter off and get it restalled and put his converter in my car, and we'll be good. So that's where we're at. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. There will be more videos of Jesse's car on the channel, so y'all stay tuned. Talk to you guys later.